If you're not hitting greens in regulation, I can almost guarantee your aim and alignment is off. In this next video, I'm going to show you a simple way how to aim your iron shots and get you start playing better golf. Keep watching. So the very first thing you need to do to get your aim on your iron shots just right is we need to aim this club head at the target. Sounds simple, but so many golfers do it wrong. That's the first thing you need to do. So if you hold the iron up like this, I'm looking at this leading edge and getting it nice and square with exactly where I want to aim. Now, I will get it square first and then take my grip. I won't grip it first and then be trying to get the face square. I'll get it square first, maybe just with one hand, then I'll grip the club and get it absolutely square so that when I get behind the golf ball, I make sure that club head is square first and aiming right at the target. The very first thing that you need to do with every iron shot. A few years ago, I used to watch my dad play, and the first thing he used to do, he'd get over a ball, he'd put a club around his waist area on his hips, and he'd be trying to align his hips first, which is the exact wrong way of doing it. You need this club head aligned first. The hips, the shoulders, everything else will line up around your club head. So make sure you get that club head aligned first. You see a lot of pros doing this. They'll walk into a ball, they'll walk behind it, put the club head down like this. They'll get it aligned first. Then they'll get their stance, their shoulders, and everything lined up around it. It's the first thing you need to do. Now, the second thing you need to do is with your feet and get them aligned. So once you've got that club face aligned, I want you to start off walking up to the ball, have your feet nice and close together. Now, I'll show you why I think this is a good idea for you to do it. First thing I want you to do, once we get our club head aligned, we've got our feet close, we're going to get our feet moved a little bit to the left, middle bit to the right, just depending on what iron you're hitting, how wide that stance will be. And then you can sort of just wiggle around a bit, get yourself comfortable, and you know you're aligned nice and straight and square to your target. So from this angle here, we'll get our club head down first, get that square, get our feet together. Now the reason we get the feet together is it's a lot easier when they're together to see if they're not square or parallel to the target. I see golfers every weekend, they get up to a ball and they're like this. Feet closed. You can see here, feet are pointing slightly out to the right. They're aiming out to the right. Straight away, their swing has got to make some sort of compensation to hit the golf ball straight. So get the club head in square, feet together, take that little step out to the left, step out to the right, and get yourself aligned up from there. And hopefully if you do that, you should be able to get your feet pretty well parallel to the target. Club face will be right on line with the target. Another little check you can do is just turn your head towards the target like this, just to make sure you've got everything lined up okay. And you'll find you'll be in pretty good shape to start hitting some straight shots. Now, here's a couple of bonus tips that will help you out with your practice and also when you're actually playing a live round to make sure you get this alignment right. Now, when you practice, it's super important that you get your alignment right. I see golfers at the driving range just blazing away hitting balls with no thought as to what their feet, what their club head is doing as far as alignment's concerned. Then they head out to the golf course and wonder why they can't hit any greens in regulation with their irons. So I'm going to show you this with an alignment stick. You can do this with an extra club, works just as well. So what I'll do, as I showed you just before, I'm going to set one up for the feet. Try and get this somewhere square to where this ball is. I don't know how that's going to look on camera, but I'll get that as square as possible. Feet are nice and parallel and square. Club head's aimed at our target. And the next thing I want you to do, grab another alignment stick or a club, and you can put it about, at least about a foot or so in front of the golf ball, just pointing at your target as a reference point. So I'll just check. It's not too bad. Try and get that somewhere aligned where you're aiming at. This is when you're at the range. That way you can Get your club head lined up to this area here, to our target. We'll get our feet lined up. We've got everything nice and square, and you're a really good chance of hitting the golf ball straight. Jack Nicklaus did this years ago. I remember him talking about it a lot. When he was lining up for a shot during a round, obviously you can't do any of this when you're in a live round. He used to just look for a piece of grass, a leaf, an old divot. He'd find something about 3 feet or so in front of the ball that was in line with his target, and he would set up to that. So usually when you play a round of golf, you'll find something on the ground that lines up with your target. Use that as a reference point. Pick out a spot there and line yourself up to that. It's much easier to line yourself up to a close target than it is something that's 150, 200 yards down the fairway. And he would just align himself to that. And once you're aligned and square, you increase your chances of hitting your target. Let me ask you this. How many times have you played a round of golf, you've missed a par 3 or you've missed an approach shot, hit the ball perfectly, you're either 20 yards right or 20 yards left. You looked at your swing, you thought, oh, am I rolling my wrists? Am I not rotating? Am I not doing this? Very next hole, you missed it in the exact opposite direction. Instead of missing it to the right, you miss it left. And that's quite simply because your swing probably hasn't changed, but your alignment has. If you just fix your alignment first, get everything lined up, you'll find it much easier than hit a straighter golf shot. It really does work, and you need to take the time to practice it so that when you go out to the golf course, you can hit those straighter shots. So let me hit one and let's put it into action. All right, let's hit one now. I've got my station set up here. I've got my feet parallel to the target. I've got my target line here. I'm going to get the club head nice and square first in my hands. That feels pretty square. I'm going to get my feet together first. Going to move them out, get them into position. Feel like I've got everything fairly square. Let's try and hit a nice, easy one. Not too bad a strike. Practice that and you're going to see some great improvement in your golf game. Now, an important video coming up that will help you hit the ball longer and straighter as well. And it talks about the hand path in the downswing. So make sure you watch this video. It's coming up.